Oh my goodness.
All the giggles in the background.
There's some
That's how you know we're on with the giggles. That's our theme music.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, welcome, folks, to the AMA Ask Me Anything. We have a full panel of guests here. And this is your moment to shine for those of you that are watching to ask us anything. Hopefully bead related, but we're all a little open. Whatever.
Uh-oh, you're opening the door already.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't want to say.
Scratch that, reverse it.
Well, they can ask anything. We can choose not to answer. So
True.
it didn't say that we'll answer anything. So it's all good.
We're getting hearts.
Hello, heart people.
Brandy says hello, all.
Oh,
Hi,
I see.
everybody.
I see friends showing up. Thank you guys for joining us this evening on this lovely Saturday night.
Or Saturday afternoon, depending on where on this round globe we are. I'm always still bright while everyone else is going to bed. It's really weird, but fun.
Oh, no, I'm not going to bed.
Yeah.
So we were kind of discussing trends earlier, just to kind of start off with a conversation. And we were discussing, Kristen brought up 3 different topics, that cargo pants. Well, I won't steal your thunder. You explain.
I was doing a little pinning this week, and then Pinterest must have known I was on there. So they sent me a trend report, which they do occasionally, to my email. And I was very intrigued by the idea that cargo pants is a popular trend that is being pinned right now. Festival wear is being pinned right now. And nail polish was another one that was pinning like crazy. And Sarah laughed that she felt like those were very catered to me specifically.
What's trending in Kristen world is what you're saying. In Kristen world, it is festival wear time.
Azalea was just talking about cargo pants, and we went to Target the other night, and there was a pair. It was like 1994 cut, and they were $70 at Target, right?
Wow.
You remember those little riders? You wore the crop top, it was boots.
Wow.
Yes.
I love the fact that cargo pants have just so many areas to put snacks in, because I am all about snacks.
You love to stick things in
so
places.
I think if all the snacks, a little notebook for your great ideas, whatever you need, you've got a pocket for it. Plus, you can always blame your looks. I'm like, oh no, it's because I have a lot of stuff in my cargo pants, right? It's not lack of exercise or decrepitude of gravity. It is my cargo pants. That's what's happening. So yeah, I'm on board with this trend. I think that's great. If I wore pants, I would like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Clem
so funny.
says they love cargo pants, but who doesn't?
Right?
I mean, they're handy, but I
take that back. I have seen cargo shorts that make me want to bleed out the eyes, but
it's like the baggy ones. I don't know. I don't understand, but I get the fashion appeal of the tapered ones, but then it reminds you of too much like military clothes.
Yeah.
You don't like military clothes, Neela? Sometimes that's very functional.
It is.
That is true, but I also.
What about cargo pants in all the colors? So rainbow cargo.
All of these things in my pocket that might be handy to have.
You never know when you have a bead emergency and you need to whip out certain tools.
Is there a way to combine beading supplies and cargo pants together? Like, do we have an emergency beading pants?
No,
now that's it. Beading pants. Julie, I love that idea. That's a trend that I think we should see happen.
Neela, you're on to something. Because do you remember using a safety pin on your knee and then doing friendship bracelet macrame, you guys? See, you could have a built-in patch to pin to on your knee.
Right.
You could have a needle pocket.
Of course.
You'd need, you'd try to go to the bathroom and your pants would just drop to the floor instantly the second you took it. There's no way down with scissors and
all the little beads, all the stuff you need. So that's kind of an interesting thought. You could just have different colors cargo pants pre-stuffed with what you need, whether it be beading stuff or snacks or whatever. I think that could definitely be a trend. The pre, just the grab and go cargo pants for whatever occasion. Some had to have a wine bottle and a couple of wine glasses connected. Whatever it is you need, it's ready to go.
That's perfect. Paula says she used to have to check her son's cargo pants before watching. Cookies, cars, rocks. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know what you
Yeah.
need. You have a different pocket for all the things.
I like this. I like this trend. I say, let's do it. Let's get it out there. Let's everybody pitch in.
Maybe we need to develop a belt, like a cargo belt.
Hey, we might be onto something.
Like a Batman, a utility belt with all the things that you can have. A cargo belt. I love that idea. I like that.
When I went to visit Kate in Fresno, I had a utility belt on my phone, and listen, people were mocking me at first, and I don't blame them because it had pockets on my phone strap that I wore like a sash across my body. But listen, when it came time to get my ID out, who was the fastest? It was like using my computer, but it wasn't. my utility belt, and I was like,
like this.
we
This
could
is
make
a great
this
idea.
for beading.
I think you've got it.
Like a bandolier with seed bead tubes.
Yeah, a beadolier. I love it. I love it. That is a great idea.
It's a good look. It's a good look. And you might find other beaders out there in the world. You're out the coffee shop, you got your seed bead utility belt on.
Right.
You're going to find some friends.
Conversation starter.
Boobs, like as shoulder pads, like a Lady Gaga look where she's got like spikes, but instead they're beading tubes so that you can unscrew and kind of just give it a little shimmy, Put that on the table.
So Neela is moving into the festival wear.
I'm loving that. We're morphing this thing. See?
What were you saying, Cynthia?
Yeah. The only way that we could make that better is if it were quilted in quilted fabric.
Oh, you just one up that project. I love it. Join me up.
Oh no, I'm crying.
I think we're gonna have to just make this as a dream board and see this visualized.
I know. That's something my grandma would have made. I would have been like, Grandma, what would have been a good idea? And that thing would have been done and with googly eyes. So
now I want one so badly. With googly eyes.
This was a challenge out to our community now.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay, so we've got to keep our eye open to see where this pops up because, as we all know, being fashion forward, cutting edge people that we are, and we have vocalized a thing in the ether waiting to be talked about. Now it's going to start popping up all over the place. So as you all out there start seeing various forms of these, please grab that and share those posts so we can see how this turns into the trend that we are imagining right now, all of us together.
Has anyone bezeled or even Christy, have you worked with polymer clay with googly eyes before? That's what
I put lots of googly eyes of my own in, but not the actual. You know what I saw that's so great? In Melbourne, they have this alleyway several alleyways that are all graffiti. So you can take the graffiti tour. And one of the things that's popular to do on some of these graffiti artists is they'll go by and just put googly eyes on the different parts of graffiti and signs and everything else. And oh my gosh, the placement was mind blowing. So I have wanted to do that with googly eyes just because it could be very clever. Take it up a notch, to your art performance sort of thing. But yeah,
I love that. The art
I think the more googly eyes on this project, the better.
Yeah, we could
we got a question.
A non-googly eye question.
What's the best way to start a pearl necklace? What would you use to attach to a clasp? I guess what's the best method to attach it to a clasp or start it? Or there's so many ways to make a pearl necklace though, really.
Mm.
Are you talking about like a knotted necklace? Like with
I think if you start a pearl necklace, I wouldn't start with a clasp, that's for sure. The clasp would be the last thing to go on. I would string all of them first on whatever, and then go down the line, and then after I would attach it. But I would leave a tail about because I sometimes mess up my knots. I would be like this much.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's always so hard when the string left is so tiny to try to. Yeah. It's
I'd
fake.
leave that
only
much.
knotted 3 pearl necklaces in my life, and one of them was for my senior English teacher because she had a necklace that she wanted me to repair. So I got that a lot at a young age, and she had this broken white pearl necklace. It was gorgeous. It was real pearls that were old as time, and the string that it was on was decrepit. And so
Ah.
I remember going to the local bead store here and at that time and grabbing some silk cord and redoing it for her. But yeah, I didn't start, if I remember correctly, with the clasp. But boy,
Ah.
did I have a time and a half with that, because every time I would make a knot, the pearl hull would go through, and then I'd have to like knot it 3 or 4 times to get it like to hold up. Unless I was just doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what you're using for your clasp. Like if you're using wire protectors or wire guards, if the silk that you're using won't fit through the wire protector without a needle, and if the silk can't be like doubled fitting through, I would start by putting on your wire guard, like stringing through with your needle. And I always use the like the Griffin bead cord or something that comes on a needle already. And I personally start with the clasp. That way I don't have to try to figure out how to get it through at the end with no needle on the end that I started with. Does that make
That's a good
sense?
point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Just put some freight check on the end and make a new needle.
Oh, I'm
Easy.
scared of that. Especially when it's somebody else's pearls. I'm messy.
Messy
What,
processor.
if
So
I see
okay,
a quote here, what is your least favorite technique? Or what do you dislike working with most?
Cleaning the bathroom, that is my like least favorite. Anything with the bathroom, I hate that. So I don't care if you've got a scrub brush or whatever. Sorry.
I was going to say cargo pants, but
Cargo pants from Pear.
Got it.
I'm sure that's more of a beading question, obviously, because there's a lot of beading techniques that I know some of them can be a lot of counting or a lot of, fussy parts, which some people love and some people hate. So,
That's a very good point. I'm
yeah,
not good
it's a
at
good
counting.
question.
Me neither.
Yeah,
As far as
things that have
counting,
to line up equally on both sides, that is not my strong point.
or if you have to follow a pattern really particularly, I've already
Yeah.
failed. I'm gonna
Right,
try and
patterns. I like the concept of patterns and laws and ways of doing things properly as a concept. It's great until I have to do it. Then I do not. So any technique where I have to do what I'm told is not a good technique for me.
You are your own free spirit, Christine.
I don't know what I am, but I haven't been arrested yet, so that's okay, I guess. Right?
I totally get it. I feel like I dabble in the dark art of bead weaving, of wire working.
Dark art.
You
I
know,
love that.
but
That's awesome.
it's like everything that's Silver Silk and what I do is so mixed media that I
Yeah.
like to try everything. But I think there's just some that require too many tools or too many things on my table where it's kind of a turnoff. And I'm trying to think what some of those things might be.
So
The
some
other thing
things
that
are
somebody asked
Resin
was,
stuff. It's not my
resin.
jam, but I would love to do
Yeah.
it in a studio that's not my home. Somewhere where I can really spread out and do stuff and leave it on the table after I leave. But there's just some stuff that's not portable as much as beading supplies are.
You know, I tried Trapunto stitch with silver clay, not clay, and it worked good. I put it on close, and it looked good.
Ooh.
And then I made a cuff, but I didn't sew it down well enough, and it came apart. So
Ooh.
that's what the.
If you're making jewelry for yourself or as a gift, do you work in base metals or precious metals? That's a good question. Depends who the friend is. Okay.
right.
So What,
What's the
for me,
occasion?
I have necklaces that I've made, and I have some here that I'm still working on. And for myself, it's so funny. I'll do both. Like this necklace I'm making, I put on gold beads. Like this one has that bead right there that you can barely see. That's a gold bead. But for me, I'm not going to put a gold bead for myself. It's going to be plated. Just because then
Oh, like, so that's a solid gold bead? I love gold. Oh my gosh. I use gold leaf, 24 karat gold leaf on everything because it's relatively inexpensive, but then I get to just put gold on everything.
So yeah, I personally love mixed materials because I cast in lead-free pewter and silver and bronze, and so I mix it up. In one necklace, I'll have like 3 different materials, but I know that some people like to match their metals, and it depends on the piece. Sometimes it looks good when it's completely one color, and then sometimes it looks better when it's, mixed. And sometimes when you have a mix, then it matches. If you have gold rings and silver rings or brass, it goes with everything. So for me, the mixed approach is my way of selling it too, because then I'm like, oh, it goes with everything. And then they're like, oh yeah.
I like that
That's a
method
good
too,
way to
and
look
I'm
at it.
not
Yeah.
afraid to mix
Yeah.
metals and mix colors with my designs. I think it just adds interest and texture and extra stuff to it, and it keeps it cost efficient in some regard too, right? Because it's mixture of things rather than just pure sterling silver, or pure gold, or whatever. All right,
Here's
what
a-
And I think one thing that's kind of interesting to think about, and this is something I think about a lot, is that when you're putting a lot of time and effort into something and your level of skill is to a certain level, you do not want to skimp on your materials because obviously if you're making small things that are a low price point for sales or for gifts, that's great. But if you're putting a lot of time and effort into something and you're not using higher quality material, you are not doing yourself any favors because people will pay for, if we're talking about in terms of sales, people will pay for something that you have put your value in. So why not use the best that you can with that? And like, for example, I was just talking about gold leaf. I use 24 karat gold leaf because gold colored metal leaf tarnishes. Over time, it gets greenish. And so you put this beautiful thing together that when you started, it looked lovely and golden. But then over time, it's just green. Now, that's fine if that's the look you were going for. But that's not what I want it to be gold. So I'll spend a little extra for a more precious material if my caliber of workmanship is up to that snuff. So that I think is sometimes part of the equation is, what's its end result and what's your level of skill, at that point.
I would agree with that, especially say if someone says, I was thinking of wire when I saw that question of like, if you're going to use sterling wire or like sterling chain, I would always say work with the best that you have, because I found some stuff in my early days that was like, it just doesn't look as good. If you don't use, I don't want to be like, oh, use name brand Softflex. I mean, it's kind of become the name. And it's good. It's not going to fall apart. I don't want to, I feel like if I use that, my stuff's not going to come apart. So use the best that you can afford within, like if you're going to make a nice necklace, it's going to be wire wrapped, then maybe, and you're going to use like really nice beads, maybe don't use base metal wire because, just on principle, some of those things can be brittle, and it can't be work hardened too much. So you'll get halfway down and get halfway through with your necklace and go one turn too many, and you break, you have to start over if you break that wire. So sometimes working with the best you can afford is a good way.
It's and also what the application is, because I mean, there's some jewelry I make that's just fun and funky, and it's going to be large and bold, and maybe I'm using very inexpensive materials, and it's just meant to be worn for a period of time. And if something happens to it, c'est la vie. But then there's other things you make that are more, you want it to be like an heirloom quality. You want things to stand the test of time. And, it just kind of depends on what you're going for, I guess, and who you're giving it to and what the reason. I think my sister had a big birthday, and I made sure to make something for her with emeralds and things that were really, higher items. But then if it was just a fun little hostess gift, then it could be something really low key and really just fun and for the moment.
For the moment's a great way to phrase it, I think, just depending on what level grade your jewelry is that you're making.
Yeah, that's definitely, you've got to kind of tell what your audience is and what your purpose is. Yeah, adjust accordingly. Yeah.
So for those of us that went to Tucson, what were the top 3 items one should bring? And I feel like a good sized wallet is probably one of them.
I was about to say
Unlimited money.
cash,
Yes,
credit
absolutely.
cards.
Unlimited money. and
Unlimited money.
service.
If you need a sugar daddy or sugar mama just for a temporary fix, then do
Pick one of
that.
those up.
I think they've got that in one of the booths on one of those outside hotel ones. I think they've got a place where you can
At
temporary sugar
registration,
daddy.
when you're just getting just got headed in.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh wait, get a cargo pants that's already loaded with cash
There
and
we
credit
go.
cards.
Cargo
That's
pants.
it. That is what we're talking about. That's our
That is
trend.
so smart. I love how we keep circling back to that.
Cargo pants.
I feel like this problem for everything.
Comfortable
You
shoes.
guys
Yep.
don't, if you're going to go to Tucson or any bead show, don't
Yeah.
go wearing those new shoes that you just got. Maybe you got a new set of cowboy boots that you got in Nashville and you want to show off. That's not the time or the place. No one's going to look at your feet. So
Yeah.
don't wear fancy shoes. Wear something that you
Sensible
can
shoes.
walk and stand in on concrete floors for hours because you're going to be
Yeah.
walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you can get one of those little carts that has wheels that spin around, because you're going to start carrying and it's going to be heavy, so you might think, oh, I'll just put it all in my purse or in this nice little bag. You're going to
That's
wish you
what
had
you
something wheeled with you. Yeah.
I
You'll see a
remember-
lot of people in Tucson with those little wheelie carts or carry-on bags or whatever, just so they could stuff their purchases in and roll them around.
You know
I
what I got
remember.
that was
Closes
really
on the top though.
I got a collapsible dolly type thing, and it folds down to like 12 by 9, but it has the wheels and a strap on it. And so I can put any bag, even if it doesn't have wheels on it. I can stack up multiple bags. It has 100.
That's great.
I
And then you
drag-
can pack that super easily. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I had to compress it down when I was flying from California, narrowly hitting people as it was going up top. But it's compact. It wouldn't have even hurt. If they got hit with it.
And
Extra
speaking
bags
of that
is good.
packing to go home, don't forget that what a lot of people do is if you're buying a lot of stuff in Tucson, you can go to the post office, get those flat rate boxes and load it up with your stuff and ship your
That's
flat
what
rate
I
stuff
did.
home. Yep. And then you're not trying to carry a bunch of heavy rocks with you through airports and stuff. Just send it on home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So bring tape,
No.
I guess. Bring good shipping tape.
A list is important for me because I get super overwhelmed, and not a list where I need like everything laid out, but just if I have some like specific things I really want to make sure I get, like, oh, I never see this or I don't pick up this throughout the year. And this is something I want to look for. But with a lot of room for adding on lots of fun things that you find, because you're going to find a lot of random stuff.
you never know what you're
Yeah.
going to find. You didn't know you needed until that moment, and that's the best.
I found
So,
that
yeah.
out
Man.
like the last week.
You know
of-
what?
because everything
There's
is
like a
linked.
little notebook is good to bring too.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, you can kind of set your path that way. So I think we have time for 2 more questions. So Abby, what are you knitting?
A test swatch. I'm trying to figure out what pattern of color work I
No,
want to
wait,
do.
stay there. I'm gonna solo layout you.
love
So it's just an experiment. I'm trying to figure out spacing and what little block of color work I want to do for a little cowl that I'm gonna maybe eventually start, but I'm just experimenting for now. But look at this pretty yarn.
Ooh, I love it.
Oh, wow.
So pretty.
Cotton and hemp, so it's nice,
Nice.
like all season.
Oh.
That is so delicious.
Not
That would
lightweight.
fit in your knitting cargo pants. Just right on in there.
Ah, totally.
Easy to fit in a
I can
pocket.
just
No
knit some cargo
problem.
pants. That way.
That would I would put that at the calf pocket, so when you're sitting, you could easily reach down and you could I mean, you won't even have to stop. It's right at your leg.
Well, a lot of those cargo pants come with like grommets in them just for fashion reasons, but you could use that to be like a yarn.
You could make your yarn go right through the grommet. Oh my gosh, the
Yeah.
possibilities.
That's so smart.
So many possibilities.
Oh my gosh.
Company is going to be like, I heard what you guys were thinking about. What do you guys think of this? We have it in a really pretty quilted cotton.
With a shoulder pad attachment accessory package optional. Right?
Okay,
Oh,
so
Crapto pants.
technical question coming up. Becky is asking, how do you know what size spacer bead to use? Is there a formula depending on your necklace?
I have no idea. I just, whatever I feel like.
So
I think the answer to that question is whatever you have in your bead box that looks good. You know, because sometimes you might not have 10 to fit. That would have been perfect. So you're like, you know what would look good? This 4 millimeter looks great because I have enough.
yeah.
Right.
If you're using plated metals and you want to make sure that it's going to be a long wear piece of jewelry, what I always do is make sure that my metal is smaller than my glass or gemstone bead, and then that way the metal doesn't touch your skin. But that's not what I do all the time.
That's a good tip.
Oh yeah, keep it smaller. I would say depending on the size of your bead. So for me, I don't like my spacer to be like half the size of my bead. I like it to be a little bit smaller, but that's preference. That's, are you going to go with a rondelle? You going to go with a square? You going to go with one of those sequin looking beads? There's a lot of choices. I would say experiment and then look at it and then look at it from a distance. And then, if it looks like crap, then take it apart. Or if your friends make it, then also
If your
take it
friends
Well,
make
it might be an easier formula is taking the largest
Or to
size
get some new friends.
and
or
going
get
with
new
like
friends.
a third of the
That's
size
what you do.
of that.
Sorry, Neela. Go ahead. Say that again.
Yeah, I
I was
didn't hear Neela.
interrupting.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying maybe the easiest formula that I could think of is taking the size of your largest bead and then using a spacer bead that's 1/3 of that size.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
a good-
smart.
Like a quarter of it.
I like that one down. That's
a good-
very cool.
good-
Size now.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's smart.
that would work great.
Well, guys, I think that is our Q&A because unfortunately I got a jet. But there's a few things that I just want to recap that we've learned today. Cargo pants are not all that bad.
So many
Kristen
uses.
has not been arrested.
Welcome the trend.
Grandma style.
In
Grandma style
yeah,
and
kind of
bandolier style cargo
quilted
accessory.
look. And base metals versus sterling silver, precious metals. I don't know. That's still a tough one for me. I think something to sit and ponder on.
I think that's like an
Pondering is
age-old-
good.
It just, depends on your aesthetic and what you like. I mean, it works for, that jewelry company, 10,000 Things. I think I've seen many of their necklaces featuring like a silver chain with a gold jump ring with, a rose gold head pin. And so, if they're kind of, they're higher end than say, well, they are higher end than mine, and they're not afraid to mix it up. So, but then I guess you can look at like, Kathy Waterman, and she's not mixing anything. But then again, her stuff is like $20,000 for a ring. So, I guess
Your
it just
journey.
depends.
So the answer is follow your heart.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
pretty
Well, let
much
us know
what
what
we're
you
saying.
guys
Follow
think. You
your
can leave
heart.
a comment on this video, and we'll just continue the conversation because I think it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's a great
like
idea.
fun
I like
and
that.
lively to
Yeah.
ponder on.
Yeah, because I think there might have been a question or two that wandered through that we didn't pick up on. So if you did ask a question and we didn't answer it, maybe we'll get a chance to go back and answer that. It wasn't because we didn't love you, because we do. We just were too busy talking about our own stuff, probably to notice. But we can go back and do the answering for that. So yeah, we'll keep this going.
And what do you guys think of this? Did you enjoy this segment? Let us know that, right?
Give us a thumbs up. Maybe, you could put a comment and be like, this was a very good use of my time. Or you could be like, I did not get the answer from Nile that I
did not appreciate all that cargo pants talk or whatever.
Let us know if you like cargo pants or not. That's all we're asking. All right, guys. Wave out.
See you guys.
Lovely to hang out with everybody for a little while, and we will continue on the TGBE for the weekend because we've got a whole lineup coming up tomorrow, starting with who's starting us off tomorrow? Miss Abs.
Me.
Yes.
10:30
What time in the
Central.
morning, friend?
10:30 Central.
All right, you all know where to catch her now, so go watch Abs' show. It's gonna be awesome. All right,
Christy,
catch
what's your
later.
Bye.
Bye.